I want to talk about the difference between AI agents today, why there are so many of them, so that hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be able to pick which one works best for you. This gets super confusing super fast, especially when every video put out about this stuff, regardless of who it is, has the same 3 comments on repeat. And I understand having your preferences and defending them. It feels like my full-time job picking fights in YouTube comments. I respond to every comment and I'm definitely there for it. The way I like to think about it, what might help you start putting these pieces together is it's like you're going to the grocery store. There are a lot of ways to get to the grocery store, just like there are a lot of different AI agents, but there's some considerations, right? What are you doing at the grocery store? How far is it away? You know what I mean? So let's say your grocery store is like 6 blocks away and you're grabbing like 1 or 2 things. A bike makes a lot of sense for that trip, right? You're not going to wait for the city bus, whatever. But if you're going to Costco across town, a bike is a really bad idea. You're going to want to take your truck instead, right? It's exactly the same thing with AI agents, right? It's the same as arguing the city bus is better for the guy that's riding his bike a couple blocks to the grocery store. Not for that guy. What I honestly see most often is you get a lot of people comparing different agents, like the benefits of this one over this other one before they've even fleshed out their specific use case. And they wind up in perpetual tech debt because they're always bouncing from service to service to service to service without actually focusing on the thing that it works best for them. I know I speak in anecdotes and I'm going to try and keep that to a minimum, but like last one, it's like comparing the mode of transportation before you figure out where you're going. If there's one solution to AI agents, we would have stopped building after OpenClaw, but there's not. It's not one size, right? Got AI figured out. That doesn't work. So I've got 5 questions to ask yourself before you pick any of these different tools. And the first one is, where is it gonna be? Where do you do most of your work, right? Are you gonna be in the browser most of the time, IDE, cloud, VPS? Do you have your own server? This determines a lot of the work that is gonna feel natural for that agent. The second thing is what kind of permissions and security and like what can it touch, right? Do you just want it to have local only chat responses? Do you want it to be able to run apps, browse the web? There's a lot going on there. Obviously, there's a massive difference between a model just returning chat responses and something with bash and like root level access, right? So it really depends on what you want to be doing with this thing, where it lives, what can it touch. The third thing to consider is the model and where it's coming from. Are you going to be running it on a subscription? Are you going to be using API calls, right? Like ChatGPT is OpenAI's world, Claude Code is Anthropic's world, Gemini, anti-gravity. Those are really, really handy. It's a lot less setup because the model is provided with the harness, but that also means you're locked into that model in that environment. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but there's definitely pros to being flexible on that front, like being able to bring your own model. So model preference, subscription, budget, that's something to consider when you're choosing your agent as well. 4 is you need to figure out the importance of persistence. Is this okay to be turned off from time to time, right? Or do you need it running 24/7 for cron jobs and things like that, right? A lot of these different coding assistants, they wake up when your terminal does, they do the job, and then they end when you close your laptop lid or whatever. A good example of something running persistently is Hermes on the cloud, for example. The entire system there, whether your computer's on or off, or are you cool with just this only works when I talk to it, right? Because that actually plays a big part in which agent is best for you and where you're going to host it. Probably saved the best, most honest one for last is how much bullshit are you actually willing to manage, right? And like, this is where you need to take a beat and be really honest with yourselves. Like, do you just want to open this up and go? Or like, are you still going to be excited to use this after the mountain of front-end setup that some of these take, right? Like, are you cool with API keys, Docker, MCP servers, local models, permissions, like setting up your own extensions and things like that, right? Or you just want this to work, right? And like, I see this all the time in my comments. This fellow was just talking about my environment, saying that this is just overwhelming amount of setup for him. So I wouldn't recommend it. You know what I mean? And I'm finding myself landing in the same sort of spot as well, because I like tinkering with things. I really enjoy building out my harnesses, but sometimes I think that the Codex desktop app is just like the shortest path to what it is that I'm doing. It's just better sometimes to go to the thing that has less bullshit. There's pros and cons, and sometimes it's better to have both. Just want to take a second to say thank you if you're already subscribed to the channel. However, YouTube tells me only 12% of you are, so if you're finding anything useful or you're learning anything, if you wouldn't mind taking a second to like and comment, hit subscribe, it super helps me out, and it also lets YouTube know you want to see more content just like this. But let's get back into it. These are all the most important questions to ask before you determine which AI agent is best for you personally. But number 5 can be broken down even further into, I guess, like buckets of complexity where we gradually trade off ease of use for flexibility, right? So the first bucket is things that are kind of like more done for you. And these, I listed some here, like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Cursor, Windsurf, that sort of thing. Like, they've packaged these things up and made a lot of setup decisions for you. These are fantastic if you don't really want to build out your harness, you just want to use it. The benefit is obvious. Like, they're easy and they're polished. You just jump right right in and use it from word one. Some of these work in the browser or in your IDE, some of them work in the terminal, but they all have their own guardrails and policies in place already. You just go ahead and do. These are the best option, inarguably, if you just want to get going, right? If you've got zero tolerance threshold for setup or bullshit, like this is your best option. The trade-off here though is you're accepting their guidelines, their rules, their models, their terms of service, and that's just it. Kind of just like blocked in, and there's no elbow room for expansion down the line. The second bucket just asks for more control, right? Like you want that elbow room to be able to expand and build out your environment as your needs grow, right? Like you want to be able to pick your own model, build out your own tools, extensions, customizations, all that sort of stuff, and you don't want to be locked into one vendor's environment. And some great tools for that are Goose, Pi, Aider. There's a few other ones. If you're familiar with any of these agents, you might be wondering why these are bucket 2 and not bucket 3, because they're so extensible, and I'll get to that in just a second. But the idea behind bucket 2, these are all very extensible models, right? Offer you maximum decision-making capabilities for maximum flexibility. Obviously a lot of setup, but they're not natively built around persistence, right? You can build that on, but that's not how they're designed, which is where bucket 3 comes in. Bucket 3 is all about agents that have a dedicated space to live and work, even when you're not at the desk. Like this is a massive departure from a lot of the bucket 1 agents where you type in your query, it sends you back a response, and then, you know, you go on with your day kind of thing. The best example of a bucket 3 agent is how I'm using my Hermes agent, which is just persistent in the cloud. I can have every device, I can be going through a power outage and my Hermes agent will still be running on a VPS. So it's always working, and it does require a little bit more setup, but the flexibility there is optimal, I find, right? So some good examples of that, like I said, are Hermes, Agent Zero, but it's a little bit more local, or Space, which I haven't looked into too much. It's like a fork of Agent Zero, but it's in the browser. I'm gonna go over the most popular options in a sec and just give you like an idea as to which one is best for you. That's why I would say bucket 3 agents are maximum consideration, because you're not just worried about how the agent works, you're also worried about how the agent works on your own downtime. See what I mean? So like I said, there's no one right answer. There's not one size fits all agents for anybody. There's not even one agent that suits everybody's needs. I personally use more than one, right? I've got bucket 1, bucket 2, and bucket 3 agents active in my day-to-day right now, because like one is more appropriate for one specific task at that time, sort of thing, right? So with that in mind, which one is the best for you to start with? All right, so let's go through the list and I'll give my Cliff's Notes sort of assessment about which agent is best for which situation. Very first, if you want general help and just have zero tolerance threshold for bullshit, ChatGPT, Claude Code, Gemini. 100%, okay? If you want AI close to your code, but still like packaged up and like polished service, you go Codex CLI, Claude Code, then Gemini. Gemini CLI is actually anti-gravity CLI now, which I have not been able to get to work, but that's a story for another time. If you want to keep your code editor, but add an agent, I would look at Klein. If you need your agent to be very Git conscious, Aider is actually built around that entirely, so I would check that one out. If you want a flexible local agent you can build onto yourself, Goose is worth looking at. If you're kind of crazy and you want a terminal harness you can bring your own model and customize every aspect of, you're looking at Pi. Pi is my favorite. If you want a persistent, self-improving agent, Hermes is probably your best bet there. If you're looking for a local agent environment, go with Agent Zero. If you're looking for something in the browser, check out Space Agent. A quick bonus distinction, OpenRouter is not an agent. Models are not agents. Agents are the model plus, like plus the environment, okay? OpenRouter is fantastic if you want to bring models in at API costs, but I would recommend looking into which model providers allow you to use their subscription elsewhere. Like Codex, like Grok, like Kimi. Those are great. But don't confuse OpenRouter with OpenCode or OpenHands or whatever agents are actually there. OpenRouter is just the models, okay? Only one part. So I know I didn't cover every single agent out there just because there's so many, but hopefully now you have the tools to determine what these different agents are good at, maybe classify them into buckets, and figure out what is actually best for the task that you're doing, right? That's like the biggest takeaway from this entire video is make sure you pick the right agent for the right job, right? To go back to our first analogy there, if you're going around the corner to grab some milk, a bike is fine. If you're going to Costco, make sure to bring the truck. So if you're watching this video looking to get started, my picks for each respective bucket would be Codex desktop app, cannot go wrong. Bucket 2 would be the Pi harness because you build it out yourself. Bucket 3 for persistence is the Hermes agent. I'm loving mine. It's also got a desktop app now, which is kind of cool. Just to help you out on top of that, if you look at the top link in the description, you'll get access to a bunch of free resources to get you rolling, including my Obsidian vault, a bunch of starter skills, and my Pi harness setup, just because I care. If you learned anything, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also check out this video over here, and we'll see you in the next one.